First off, she plays Isabella on the show, Hannah Leader. Next up, I still think he has the best eyes in the business. He plays Yanko on the show, Nestor Carbonell. See, I hear the crowd back there too. Best eyes in the business, right, Nestor? Next up, I mean, there's so many legends on this panel as well. It's an embarrassment of riches. She plays Julia on the show, Shari, Belafonte. This is the spin-off I want to see. I want to see Tig Notaro as Amanda on their own show. Tig Notaro! And we have executive producer Michael Ellenberg. Is he here? Yes? All right. Coming in. Well, now let's go to the front row. Speaking of legends, of course, she plays Sybil on the show, Holland Taylor. All these characters had great storylines this season, including Mia on the show, Karen Pittman. I think Stella may be running things next season, so let's see what's going on with Greta Lee. We're having a Greta Lee renaissance right now, but we're also having a Hammaissance right now. It is the one and only Jon Hamm. You're right there. Again, so much went on this season, so we're going to talk about Alex on the show, the one and only Jennifer Aniston. Oh, we have a one-man standing O over here. And again, there's so much that we need to get into with Bradley, so let's bring out right now Reese Witherspoon. Got a couple of standing O's here. So congratulations, first off. So AFI Top 10, you just got more nominations than any other show at Critics' Choice. Season 3 is en fuego. It is on fire. So congratulations. Conflicts. This was a really interesting season for her. We started to wonder some of the choices that she's making. In the end, I mean, she takes control. This ultimately is Alex's season, what she manages to pull off in that final episode. But what do you make of this relationship with Paul Marks? I mean, but in the end, Alex does sort of this 11th hour gambit that she manages to pull off. So
yes, because in support and in honor of our journalistic integrity, it had to happen.
Yeah.
You have to make those choices.
And where do you think she is now, Alex, in terms of, I mean, she's now pulled this off, so she's kind of in the driver's seat.
Yeah, she could be having a what the hell did I just do moment and careful what you wish for. Or she's really working hard to figure out how this is all going to work.
Yeah. Well, John, we talked a little bit about maybe Paul Marks was a snake, but we did see a vulnerable side to him, too, that we don't always see with our billionaires in the news. How did you sort of create this billionaire and this idea of this character? What inspired you in playing this role?
I think anybody that's dying to go to space that bad has a hole they're trying to fill with something. So sure, he's a human being who happens to be in this position that he's in. Inspiration-wise, there's too many paradigms to sort of count, but the most important thing to me was that the person be recognizably a human in its interactions, and that was very easy to do when plunked into the world that they've created over the first 2 seasons here. So I was, tremendously pleased to be asked to play this part and had a ton of fun doing it.
Yeah, I think one of the things in watching the show is again, you know that maybe Alex shouldn't be going down this path with him, but you totally get it. And there are moments where you sort of feel like he's kind of right. And I don't know if like I should be agreeing with him, but he is kind of right sometimes.
A big part of the discussions that led up to figuring out what the arc of the season was going to be for both Paul and Alex was discussions that Jen and I had with Charlotte and Mimi and everybody involved, was to really make it kind of organic and something that didn't seem to be a play on either side. That these people had to be into each other for the reasons that people are. And that was, I think, the first order of business.
John was Mr. T's brother. It was a whole...
Stephen T.
I don't remember that.
What was I saying? It doesn't matter. It was the A-Team. That's right. I got off the planet. No, it's great. That extends, by the way, that description extends to everyone behind the camera, everyone on
sort of
both
stands
sides.
this season. I mean, everyone had their own secrets. She had her secret, but she managed to navigate that, and she also found the strength to say no to the deal with the devil. But it's been really interesting to see this character grow and become so multidimensional.
Yeah, and when I joined the show the second season, I mean, I was in real life the bull in a china shop, just trying to keep up with all of these guys. I remember distinctly my first day shooting. I was so nervous, and I had the scene with Karen and Reese, and I came out and I said everyone's name wrong. Do you remember that? It was like the best, most humiliating way to come out and just immediately fall completely on your face. And Karen really politely she just looked at me and she smiled and she just winked at me and squeezed my shoulder and she was like, yeah, that just happened. Yeah, but it is so surreal to come in and be dropped. And I remember Reese saying it is like being dropped on a treadmill that's already set at level 10, right? And I felt so immediately relieved to hear you say that, because the show is wildly athletic. It's like playing a full contact sport. There were times when Billy even would say, I'm blowing up a spot, but he would show me these sweat pads that he had. And acknowledging, even for him, getting his self-loathing of like, who decided to speak this quickly, and having to reteach himself to speak that way. All of that I was so grateful for, because it really is that kind of stamina and that kind of full body physicality that's required, I think, for all of us is something that I've never seen elsewhere. And that was the starting point, and since then I've been so grateful to be able to give a little bit more and more life to Stella and what's going on for her, and to show these really tricky dynamics that she's navigating for a young person like her, who is previously an outsider, to step into her power but negotiate what that means, like a tricky mentorship with this guy, tricky dynamics with everyone at the workplace, and there's absolutely many scenes, like the scene with the executives that we got to do, that having long talks with the writers, with Charlotte and Mimi, about how to not shy away from showing some things that are true and ultimately also pretty uncomfortable. I'm so grateful that I'm able to do that with these guys.
Yeah. No, you're right. A dance is a good way to put it. And by the way, we got to see Nestor actually dance in the finale. So literally.
Call it dancing, but
But yeah, nonetheless, the tricky office dynamics, big part of the show in general, but this season too. And Karen talking about Mia sort of being in the middle of a lot of that, because on the one hand, she has a staff that feels undervalued, underpaid, but Mia also feels undervalued and underpaid. So she's kind of dealing with it above her and below her and navigating all of this at the same time.
I had my suspicions, was up to stuff, and I had to do. I channeled some, like, I had to protect my boss, and then when I realized that, I mean, it's not the exact same story, but when I realized that my boss was you were my boss, right, on the show?
Yeah, I would be.
Okay.
I'm also the person she's talking about.
So back when you were John's personal
We've known
assistant.
each other for 45 years.
It's funny because people are always like, what was it like working with Jon Hamm? I'm like, I don't know. I told John that I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, I told him, I was like, people are like, what is it like? And he's like, did you tell him it was just another Tuesday? And I was like, basically, but nobody understands that. I've known him a while. But oh, my time is up. So. That's fine. That's fine. I don't take it personally. I know my place. Anyway, yes, my dynamic of my old job when I first got to Hollywood, I thought a lot about in that job, in that dynamic. What was your question?
I feel like
There was a
having
lot coming at me. Jen told me we didn't have time.
The bell ringing.
The bell went off.
We totally get it. Well, all I can say is I hope we see more of you at some point
I would
next
love.
season. Again, a spin-off of all the nefarious shit that your character was actually up to.
Yes.
There's a lot of flashbacks on this show, so who knows?
I know. There is a lot going on, and I'll see you at the Emmys, sir.
Michael, as someone who, I've covered this business for a long time, and as a producer, I gotta say, one of my favorite moments this season is you made the upfronts sound sexy. you went there. It's like, you know what? People want to know more about the upfronts. Let's go there.
So it was Charlotte had an idea about seeing it. We thought it was, if the show in some ways is exploring the work, sort of an industry, let's say in its later stages of life, nothing better than seeing the upfronts and taking a look at what they are right now. We also had 6 hour, so we have resources, but there are limits, and we had, I think, half a day to shoot that. So Tucker's big solve, which was genius, was to do that as a oneer, which you could only do both if it's him, the DP, and then this cast. And it was mesmerizing, and to watch it happen, it was beautifully orchestrated. The Bee Gees, the whole thing. And it was hot and sexy and dangerous, and it was worrisome because we had the cancellation joke at the middle of it, and it's kind of the magic of the show, which is in one 6-minute sequence, you get an entire look at both the universe of television today. You get to check in on every single one of these amazing actors and where their characters are, and
things are coming up the morning show, so how are you feeling now? What are you looking forward to as we start to talk about season 4, and any other sort of thoughts to kind of wrap things up on where things stand with this show that has become quite a show?
I'll take this one.
Or Tig.
After years of not being in charge, we're kind of like, wait,
I know.
we're the leaders. Oh shit.
I know. Sorry.
Well, the morning show starring Tig Notaro, everyone.
And it might bring this cast back.
Thank you.